Okay, what we have here is the Scorbot ER7 robot. Now, this is a pretty big robot. It's about a meter tall, and it weighs about 83 pounds. So it weighs, about as big as a 12-year-old kid, so you got to be careful with it. This one right here is screwed into the table. This item, probably will be shipped on a piece of wood. I don't know if the piece of wood is big enough to actually hold it up. That piece of wood might need to get screwed into something else to hold it down. It has the control cables here that are nice and long, so in case it was being used maybe in an industrial sense, it could be mounted quite a ways from the controller. On the back of the controller here, you have your access cards. And the access cards are labeled here. If you take a look at this, there's a 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 5, and a 6. And they go underneath there into the access cards. Now you see that there's 8 lights on the robot card. So that means that those cards are all active. Don't plug into 9 here. This number is 7 here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So watch these numbers here, because they don't necessarily are going to line up like you want them to, okay? But if for some reason you don't have a light on here on the 6 axes, you need to open up the hood here, take out a couple of screws. Oh, this one's already got a screw out. And then underneath here is a push button resets for the axis, for the circuit breakers, and that would reset the axis and you would get your light back on. If your circuit breaker keeps tripping, you might have something that you need to look at further. Now, another thing is that these are 9-pin connectors here, as you can see. And so these older robots get a little rusty. So if you have an axis problem, axis 6 or 2 or 3 is not working, you might want to hit it with a little bit of contact cleaner and then put that back in there, and that usually takes care of the problem. And so the way the axes work is axis 1 is the base, and that's what caused the robot to spin. Axis 2 is your shoulder, and this is just like your robot arm. Here's the shoulder, and that causes your shoulder to go up and down. Axis 3 is your elbow, so here's the robot's elbow, just like you do. So axis 3 will cause the elbow to move. Axis 4 is your wrist, right? And then it's got a roll on it. And then it's got axis 6, which is the gripper. So that's kind of the way the axes work, and they line up with the axes back here, and that's the way you want them to work, okay? What we have here is another robot card, but that's for a different style of robot. If you ever happen to get an ER5 or an ER4 5 Plus, this is my communication cable. So that's my RS-232, and it runs back to the 9-pin COM port I/O on the computer. That's why the computer was important in this one. So that's your connections. Here's your air hoses. If you're going to run pneumatics or something someday on here, that pneumatics hose runs up onto the robot up at the top here, and then you can have some type of a pneumatic gripper if you need that, to add that later. But this one has an electric gripper on it right here, which is axis 6, and it's all working. So when you go and set it up, bolt it down, carefully make clean connections, axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thing, if this needs to be hit with contact cleaner or not, that's what goes into the back of your computer, and you should be able to start getting your robot to communicate if everything's hooked up right.